I wanted to thank all of you parents who have given so generously of your time to be with us today. We know how busy you are and your time is precious, so we really do appreciate the effort that you're making. And it's really important because your voice and the experiences of you and your children were really important so that it can help inform the future of our short breaks and how we develop and offer the right range of short breaks for you and your children. So it's really great to see so many of you here today. We're looking forward to some really lively breakouts and giving you the opportunity to have that time to feedback to us. And without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Claire to talk about how the session's going to work today. Thank you, Claire.
So our first slide is just the outline of what we're hoping to cover this evening. So I'm just going to feedback on the first stage consultation that we held during the summer, and then I'll briefly talk through the proposals for the second stage consultation that we're now in. But then we're going to have discussions in smaller groups, so everyone can get an opportunity to speak, and then you can ask us any questions, and we obviously want to hear your views on the proposals. And then we're going to come together again in the large group for the last piece of the session. So, Tahina, if you could just, that's lovely, thank you. So this slide is just, it's the feedback on the first stage consultation that we held, as I said, over the summer. So we asked for views on the current short breaks offer, on the communication methods, on the assessment processes, and we asked for suggestions about what we needed to change. We received a total of 137 responses, mainly from parents. That was through sort of surveys and the in-person and online meetings we held, but we also got the views from professionals and children and young people. I would say that the responses that we received were critical of the current arrangements and offer, and very clearly told us of the things and the changes that parents and providers would like to see. So I've listed some of the main headlines. So the first one, there was a clear message, I would say, from parents and professionals that they didn't know what short breaks were available, how to access short breaks, and who could help. In terms of the comments around assessment processes, they were that assessment wait times could be long, assessments caused delay to accessing provision, they didn't always or necessarily lead to an offer that met families' needs, and also that assessments were often unnecessary for children with complex needs that were in sort of specialist settings, as their need had already been evidenced. We had a mixed response in terms of comments about the delivery model. In terms of direct payments at a targeted level, parents commented, or some parents commented, that it was quite stressful in terms of all the paperwork that they had to do and sort of keeping on top of that with everything else that they had to deal with. We had comments from some parents that they couldn't find suitable activities to spend their funding on, and therefore at the end of the financial year the authority was taking it back because it was unspent. Parents who had one-to-one support at a targeted level, I think there's a very clear message that came there, and that was how much they valued that one-to-one support for their child and their families. But we also had comments from parents that they would very much welcome us having more providers. In terms of the delivery model, I haven't included it on the slides, but also what came across, I think, very strongly was that parents wanted a mixed offer. So it was that they wanted the opportunities for their children to have a break away from the families, but as well, they wanted a short break as a family and with other families. I think another clear, thank you. I think another clear message was that there just wasn't enough provision, and I've listed there that the gaps that have been identified. I would just you could say, I would just say that on the youth offer, the feeling was that it was better at primary, but then once children became, it's that year 7, that that's when there was more of a struggle to find a suitable placement. Another message that we were told was that the council needed to make better use of facilities. Acacia Adventure Playground was mentioned quite a bit. At the moment, it's an open access playground, and it's an inclusive setting. But parents were asking, could we arrange for it to be, for some sessions, to be just SEND, and that could either be at a targeted level or a more specialist level. And another clear message was very much that special school sites and special school staff, especially TAs, can we use those in our short breaks offer? The responses from professionals, that it wasn't as critical as the responses from parents, but they were exactly the same things that they said needed changing. And the feedback we got from children, young and people, that was really about the activities. We got a nice long list of the things that they would like to start doing, and we're certainly going to be using those to inform our future offer when we do that commissioning piece and when we start looking at the future model. So those slides really, that was the first consultation. So we're now in the second phase. And we have a set of proposal, which is why we're here tonight, that we're asking for your views on. So the first one is around, we're proposing to create a new role within the council so we can improve how we publicise short breaks and wider SEND services. So how we see this role, it would be very much outreach into our community groups, into our schools. So targeting our Senko forums, targeting our parent coffee mornings, our GP surgeries, our libraries, really targeting anywhere that we think that parents of children will be. Another role would be producing sort of regular communications with parents and social media posts. That, I think at the moment we've got a sort of a local offer, a newsletter, it was great. We get good feedback on it, but I think it goes out termly. But what we would envisage would be more regular communication around short breaks and general SEND services. It would also be a role that would be signposting parents and professionals to short breaks and wider services, and also a sort of a SEND family support, sort of highlighting maybe additional support that could help families if they haven't got DLA, or just any other support services out there. And another key one would be to work with local businesses and providers to see if we can improve the benefits of the M card, of having an M card, which is our sort of concession and ID card. So this would be very much a networking, linking, signposting role. Our second proposal is around streamlining our assessment processes. And so the proposal would be to remove, so at the moment we've got two assessment processes. We've got one for our targeted offer and we've got the second for our specialist offer. And the proposal is to remove the assessment process at the targeted level. And we will use the existing registration process of applying for an M card to decide which families can then access the targeted offer. So that eligibility around the M card is that families would just need to show a letter confirming that they have DLA or PIP, or a letter from a medical or educational professional saying that their child has complex needs and that impacts how they access services, or they will have the additional disabled child element of universal credit. So once parents have evidenced that, they will get the M card, and that then entitles them to have access to the targeted short break offer. So rather than that assessment, it's just that process which I've described. And then the third element of this proposal is that families can then access an online booking system. So there's still a piece of work to do on how we allocate places, because we know we need to make sure that it's fair and clear, and it isn't a first come, first served. And we also need to think about what support families might need around that booking process. Our third proposal is around the delivery model. And that proposal is that from September 25, the model at a targeted level will be all commissioned providers. So that could be external providers, or it could be a council-run providers, and there will be no direct payments at that targeted offer. So that's the offer for new families. So with existing families, those currently accessing Merton MenCap, they will be accessing one of the new providers. That could be Merton MenCap if they bid and they are successful, or it could be another provider or a council service. We still need to work through the process and the time frame for transitioning across those families receiving direct payments at the moment. So we do know that we have some families sort of in the wrong part of the offer, I would say, so they're accessing the targeted when they would be eligible for the specialist offer. But that's the piece of work that we still need to do. So with this change, we think the targeted offer would be more refocused on providing the expected additional support needed by a child to access the service. Our fourth proposal is around introducing a charge. We have suggested that it's £5 for an after-school or half-day session and £10 for a full day. But that charge, families in receipt of income-related benefits would be exempt from that charge and wouldn't have to pay. So the aim would be that those families who can afford to pay do, but we need to ensure that those families that cannot are still able to access a short breaks offer. And then our last proposal is that we know that we need to create more variety and more volume in the offer. So we know that we need to be working closer with our other services and joint commissioning across our HAF schemes, our youth disability, our Merton leisure and sport. We know that we've got some funding, releasing some funding from that targeted assessment process to create more provision. So we will have, in terms of the proposal 4, there will be income from families, and we are looking at our existing short breaks in-house provision to make that more cost effective and see if there's ways that we can better use that funding either within that provision or elsewhere. I think that's it in terms of just talking through the proposals. I think the plan is now to have some group discussion, and Tahina has arranged for us to be put into breakout rooms. Just going to okay, so this is our last slide. So we're now we've got the second stage consultation, as you can see. So that is now going to run until the 1st of December. So we've had a meeting earlier. We have this one, and we've got some children and young people engagement sessions that's going to happen as well. That our participation team are leading on, and we do have some consultation surveys. So it would be great if I think I checked earlier, we were definitely in the 30s. So it would be great if we could get well over 100. That's all happening. So once the consultation ends, we then need to sort of think through our model, and that's what we're going to be doing in December. And we're going to be meeting with the Kids First steering group and getting input. Then we've got, we will form our proposals, and then we need to make, to get the decisions on them, which is around that January to February period. So that's the decisions of the sort of senior officers within the council, but then ultimately it goes to our councillors. So there'll be sign off with the councillors about the changes that we're going to make. So we will know, and we can feed back to parents in February 25 about those changes. We can sort of say, we had these proposals and these are the ones that we're going ahead with or not, or these are the amendments that we are going to make. Then in terms of any sort of commissioning piece and how we get new providers, that will start in that sort of February to March period. So we'll need those service specs ready, sort of going out, and we will make sure that we have sort of parent and children young input into those specifications, and they will be involved in the evaluation process and on the evaluation panel. So then hopefully when we go out, we're going to get a really good response from our providers. So we'll have the, as I said, have the evaluation, and then we will know who the new providers will be, and that will be around May 25. And then it's spending the rest of the time until sort of August, sort of getting everything ready, making sure that everyone knows about the new providers. We'll have to work on our booking system, and we'll just have to make it all come together. So that'll be, we would be going live in September 25, but I think, as I said, in our team, but we know that that's almost just the start. And then it's making sure that we keep everything, we're good about our monitoring and our communications, and just keep it under review. I think that's it in terms of all I wanted to say on this slide. So thank you, everyone. I think it's really been, I've been certainly making a note of all that we discussed in our group discussion. And I know either Joe or Christina will be in the second group.